The information that will be shared in this video, it's my understanding, my practice, but more important, my experience. So don't take anything that is going to be said here as the absolute truth. If you resonate with anything that is being said, you can put it into practice and let your experience determine the validity of what is being shared here. Having said that, enjoy this video. Hi, welcome to the end of the search. This is the first video of that episode, and because it's the first video, I'll tell you a little bit of what inspired this series of videos or this information. I have been sharing this for many years, but especially in the Spanish-speaking community. And some people in the English-speaking community who've known me, they ask me why shouldn't I share that information in English. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Anyhow, I am not an expert in anything, nor a teacher or anything whatsoever. I am simply just someone like you who came to the realization that the only thing that can actually disturb my peace, my happiness, is just a thought. Not the thought itself, just believing in the thought. And because this points to the nature of our beingness, which is something that is non-conceptual, it's not personal, it's not quote-unquote human. Many people refer to as non-duality, but let's take all the terms, let's get rid of all the concepts, and let's go straight to the core. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some illustrations to see if maybe I can explain this a little bit better, okay? So what we are is what is. In other words, the space, you see space-like, this is what we are in essence. Call it energy, call it whatever you will. In the end, the name is irrelevant. That's all there is. There's nothing else. It's that simple, you see. Now, within all that there is, a thought seems to appear. If you look at teachings like A Course in Miracles, that is what is referred to as consciousness. The first believing separation, so that, if you look at other philosophies, they may refer to that as mind, you see. But in the end, it's just a thought that seems to appear in all that there is. That thought is the distraction to everlasting, ever-present experience. When you're dreaming, for example, the distraction to the fact that you are in bed is the dream. That's it. Without the dream, you are that one which is in bed. Not conscious of the fact that you're the one in bed, but just for the sake of this illustration, the dream itself is the obstacle to what you are always, which is, in that case, would be the one in bed. So in this case, our experience, direct experience, which is non-conceptual, is the aliveness that we are. It's very simple. Now, when that thought seems to appear, that thought is referred to as I, but not I, capital I, which is everlasting experience. It's a personal I, you see. When the baby is born, the baby is not aware of itself as something, it's just pure awareness. But the moment that the baby is taught concept, he or she begins to sense or feel the concept that says, I, this thing. Call it a baby, call it what you will. Well, we are always beingness. We cannot not be. Right now, try not to be. And you realize that you cannot, because it's the aliveness, okay? So there's no problem with that. Now, in this aliveness comes this seeming thought. And this thought, I'll take it as me. I am this thought. See? It's not that I am thinking this thought. It's not that the thought appears in me. It's that I am this thought. And that could be seen. The problem is that what we do to hold on to that thought, which is the root cause, we begin to learn other thoughts. And we take those other thoughts and superimpose them on this original thought. See, that original thought is what is referred to as the original sin or the fall, or when they talk about, eating the apple from the good and evil or whatever. So anyhow, so the thought that seems to have appeared, now we need other thoughts in order to describe this original thought. So the next thought would be, I am a man, or I am a woman, you see? And then another thought could be, I am good, I am bad, I am pretty, I'm ugly, I am thin, I am fat, I am deserving, I'm not deserving. You see? Look at all the thoughts, right? Or I can use a profession to describe myself. I am a musician, I am an actor, I am a surgeon, I am a lawyer, I am a pilot. But you see, all of these are thoughts. Have you noticed that? They're not real, they're just thoughts that I take them as real because I need those thoughts to hold on to my sense of identity, which is, seemingly obviously, I person. You see? So, what we're pointing to here is that I am. You see? It's not that I am something. I don't put anything after I am. I simply am. And that I amness, without believing in any thoughts, is what is referred to as the peace that passes all understanding, also known as happiness. You see? The chase of happiness is actually a thought that taught me I am not enough, or I need something to be happy. You see, these are thoughts, right? And then I listen to that thought because I believe that I am the thought I person, and now the thought says you have to chase this in order to experience happiness, in order to experience peace. So, because I never questioned that thought, because I never questioned the thought I person, I believe in that thought and I begin to pursue whatever it is that I think I need in order to experience the happiness that I am so looking for to have, the peace, you see? But that, all it does is it's like opening a can of worms inside another can of worms, because the mind cannot lead you to freedom. The mind is the obstacle itself to freedom. This is why this is simple. I'm not going to ask you to do anything with the mind, leave it alone. I'm just simply inviting you to notice that all we are reacting to is a thought, or I should say a thought believed in. So if I believe my thoughts, then I'm going to have to deal with the consequence of believing that thought. But the reason why this, which is very simple and very obvious, is so overlooked is because the thought root that I do not want to let go of is the thought, I am this individual. You see? The thought, I am this individual, is the thought that I'm using, as a center point, a centerpiece, so that I can go ahead and take all the other thoughts and adhere him, I guess, that's the word, right? Adhering to me. You see? I cannot say that I'm ugly or I'm pretty or handsome, if you want to use the male or female, whatever. I cannot say that I'm fat or I'm thin. I cannot say that I'm successful or not successful. See, I cannot have any attributes. I cannot have any descriptions of me if there's not a me. You see? First, there has to be a me in order for those other thoughts had a place to land. But what if there is no me? If there is no me, I cannot say that I'm handsome and I cannot say that I'm ugly. Because I am. And this message is pointing to the I am, which is right this moment, which is not a moment in time and space, it's just what is. That's it. It's very simple. So now what we're looking is how we are identified with our sense of identity, begin to dismantle that so we get to the root cause. And we don't have to dismantle all of that. We can go straight to the root cause. That is a suggestion. Who am I? You know? But sometimes, because there's so much fear around it, we begin to dismantle the belief in the thoughts that seems to describe me. Okay? So once I begin to look at these thoughts as they come up, and then I can see that they're not true because they're just basically thoughts, then as they don't have a place to land, nothing to attach to, then I realize, oh my God, the only problem here is that I believe that I am this individual. That's the famous questions, who am I? The problem is the mind wants to ask that question, and the mind cannot receive an answer because you are. Right now, you are being. Let's put it to the test. This is not theory. This is not abstract. This is pure fact. Right now, can you say that you are not? Don't engage with the mind. I'm not asking you to answer me. I'm asking you to have the direct experience, which you're having it right now. What are you? Life itself. Not conceptually. And you are the life force. If you take away the thought, me individual, now there's just life itself. And you are life. And this is what we're pointing to. And if you're not afraid of letting go of your sense of identity, this is easy. This is obvious. Right now. Notice that right now you can say, I am. Or I could say I. Or I could say am. Better yet, let's not say anything. But there's a sense that I am. Right? So, if you don't identify with any thought, what is left? Now, if you try to answer that, and you say, well, space, spaciousness, awareness, the moment you begin to answer the question, you have identified with the mind again. I'm going to ask you the question again. If you do not identify with any thought, what is left? See, that's what we're pointing to. The mind says peace. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't even want to hear that word. That is what you are. That's the I am that so much is being talked about. And then life is just happening. It's not happening to me, it's just happening through what it seems to be this instrument. Now, how would you live your life if you didn't believe anything you think? Pay attention. How would you live your life if you did not believe anything you think? Don't answer the question. I want you to ponder on it. Because you will have to come to the realization that we are always reacting to our thoughts. We are never reacting to truth. And that doesn't mean thoughts will not appear. That's what they do. I have all kinds of thoughts. But there's an awareness that these thoughts happen or seem to happen in me, not in me as a person, in what I am, which is exactly what you are. And then life is simple. Life happens, thoughts seem to appear, and if I don't believe any of them, they'll continue their own journey, they'll disappear. They came from nothing and they will vanish into nothingness. The same thing happened with us. When we go to bed at night, we go into this deep sleep, we vanished. There's no conscious awareness of who we are or the me. Completely vanishes. And then when I wake up in the morning, from the nothingness, or whatever, which is all there is, it seems as though this me appears. You see? And the moment this me appears, the thought that immediately hang on to is, I woke up. And then all the conditioning attaches to it. Not only I woke up, but I am the person woke up. I am the good or the bad person woke up. I'm the successful or unsuccessful person woke up. I am, and then it's me, the world, and everything, but all of them are just basically thoughts simply trying to describe the collage of the energy, which is all there is. You've heard the famous, maybe you have, I don't know, but like gold, you take gold in itself, in its purest form, is gold. But the moment you give it the form, let's say a ring, you see, now you say this is a ring. It's not true. That's not a ring. That's gold. And will always be gold. But the moment it takes a shape, we assume the shape is the thing, is the gold itself. You see? And this is where we're missing the mark. We take the concepts and we take the concepts for what we are. How do I know that I'm a person? Because I've learned a word that I'm using to describe this seeming thing here. But in reality, that description is a thought. Without that thought, what is left? What is left? Now, within the world of illusion, which within this projection, within this seeming appearance, because we are all there is, this is all an appearance, right? Within this appearance, we use language and concepts to move around within it, and there's no problem with that. The problem is believing the concept as true. I can say, give me the glass of water which is on top of the table. These concepts are necessary, so for communication purposes, knowing what to get and what to bring. But simultaneously, there's an awareness that I am, the words spoken, they're just simply words spoken. The glass of water and everything on top of the table, the glass, the water, the table, all of that is just an appearance. You see? And you can live life from that mindset. It's like living in the world but not of the world. Still function the same. But I'm no longer believing the thoughts that seem to appear. They're useful for whatever is needed at the moment. But they're just simply passing clouds. See? And that's what we're doing here, remembering that. Nothing else. So what I am is simply experience, pure experiencing, if you want to use that term. That's all there is, there's nothing else. And everything superimposed upon it is just that thought, call it mind or consciousness, attempting to describe wholeness in fragments. That's all. And the practicality of this is not that once I am conscious of that, the body will disappear, everything will disappear. No, we don't need to go there. The practicality of this is that at least while it appears as if I'm this body, and while it appears as if I am somehow interacting with myself, really, because there's only one, right? But it appears as if there are others. All I have to remember not to believe anything I think. And if I don't believe anything I think, I'm resting in that space which is referred to as love. You see? And then love only see loves everywhere. It doesn't matter how the images may look like, however they behave or so, we don't know. All that there is resting in love, which is what I am, which is what you are, which is all there is. And now the mind, it's more like a servant rather than a master. The mind can never be a master, but we have believed that it is. Why? Because we believe the concept that we fed onto it. You see? And we forgot that we fed them to it. Whether I learned them from my parents, our culture and family and God, you know, the society, doesn't matter. They were accepted because even in my own ignorance, or in the ignorance at the time, I gave permission for them to be accepted. But now they can be seen through. You see? So I'm not blaming my mother because I had low self-esteem or anything. No, I realized that low self-esteem is a thought, is a conditioning. And the mind tries to use the thought of saying, I'm still a human being who had a past, who had a mother, and this is what the mother did, and these are thoughts. You see, these are all thoughts. They're not facts. These are just thoughts. Now, if in the present moment, I don't have to try to figure out how to have a high self-esteem. I don't have to worry about that. I have to remember who I am. Because if I try to have a high self-esteem by adding different thoughts, I'm still hanging on to the root cause, which is the belief that I'm a separate individual. You see? I'm running in circles. But if I am, there's no need for a high self-esteem because there's no such thing as low self-esteem. As a matter of fact, there's no such thing as an esteem. All that there is what is. You see? So now we're paying close attention how easily the mind identifies with thought. You see? And that's all. It's very simple. It's not complicated. And I don't need to talk about non-duality or whatever terms you want to use. Let's go to the basics, the simple. Right now, don't believe anything you think, and that's it. And then life will continue be lived, but differently, that's all. I still notice how, through the conditioning of this seeming entity, there's desires to do things, but the difference is the desire is seen. Why? Because I know there's nothing there. Does that imply that I cannot move in that direction? I may move in that direction, or I may not. But that only happens if life wants for this instrument to move in that direction. Now, if you don't let thought get in the way, yeah, but you should move in that direction. You really have to do this, or you whatever. If I don't believe any of that, I just see life happening. If this instrument is supposed to move in that direction, great. If it's not supposed to, that's fine too, because I'm okay no matter what. See? I have seen it with everything I've done in my life, and for years I couldn't understand it until, oh my God, this is the obviousness. This is the obviousness of everything. I didn't know why I was a stand-up comedian for 15 years in my life, because I didn't think I was going to do that in my life. I thought I was going to be a musician. And then I found myself recording music, and I didn't then find myself trying to go beyond that. And I was very confused because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And the problem is that I was believing everything that the mind was trying to tell me. This is what you should do. And since I see everyone and everything, supporting that belief system, I was completely trapped. But I wasn't trapped by what anybody was saying or doing. I was trapped by my own thinking. Or I should say by the thinking that it was happening, because it's not even my own. If you think this is not the case, I'm going to ask you the following question. Can you tell me what is the next thought you're going to have? Come on, tell me. You don't know. Thoughts just appear. And if you say, well, the next thought I'm going to have is, oh, I'm going to go to the kitchen. Well, that's not the next thought you're going to have. That is the thought you just had. Now you're telling me the thought you just had. What I'm saying is that life is a mystery. And the only reason why the life is suffered, first of all, is because the belief in the thought that I am this seeming individual, and then on top of that, believing all the thoughts that arises as consequence of either the conditioning or the mystery of life. But once again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do or not to do. I'm just suggesting, if you want to, inviting to, don't believe anything you think. And I said this again. I'm not saying that thoughts will not be there. I'm saying don't believe any of the thoughts. If you don't believe in them, tell me by your own experience. Okay? If you don't believe anything you're thinking, what is your experience? You cannot describe it because that'll be another thought, but I can assure you that it's not going to be fearful. Unless a thought interprets this experience of, oh my God, I'm losing control. These are thoughts. If you don't believe any single thought, what is your experience? There's not going to be anxiety there. There's not going to be fear. All that there's going to be is just experience. And even if the experience may have a texture of whatever the case may be, if there's no thinking, if there's no, not identified with the thinking, the sensation could be there, but there's no suffering. You see? Sensations can be there, thoughts can be there. What happens is that when I believe the thinking, and then that thinking takes the sensation and somehow try to describe it. But the more one rests in this recognition that I'm inviting, if you want to, if you feel like that's my experience, that's all I can say, then life is seen or seen through. And yes, as long as there is a human experience, there's going to be sensations, all kinds of sensations. There'll be all kinds of thoughts. So what? You see? And that's how, you see, the mind doesn't have to be controlled. I don't need to control the mind. Let it do what it wants to do. I just don't have to believe in it. That's the difference. And that does not require any effort. At the beginning, it seems as though, because I'm so used to identified with the mind and believe in the mind, but when there's a true desire for peace above anything else, then you realize that the most obvious and organic thing to do, because really there's nothing to do, but just for the lack of a better word, the most organic thing to do is to be. You see? To be is the most organic thing. To do something takes effort, but to be is the most organic thing. And that's how we rest, always, no matter what. And then sometimes life will be very dynamic. There will be times when you'll find yourself taking massive action because that is what was required in that moment. But that massive action doesn't carry the anxiety of, oh my God, this has to be done, this is important. No, nothing is important and nothing has to be done. And yet, if something has to be done, will be done, but not by you. It will be done by life itself, and you are life. See, you are not this you. I'm not talking to you as a person. This is a seeming appearance with information that is saying, hey, wait a minute. What would happen if I did not believe anything I think? Put it to the test. And let your experience be the judge. You see? And that's all we're going to be remembering here. So every video that life uses or through this instrument seems to be filmed, well, this is the theme we're going to be addressing here or talking about here. This is a reminder. So the information is going to be the same. It's not going to change. But somehow I see how life uses this instrument to use certain experiences in life and then bring back to the awareness of the I am. Even when the experience may seem to be very of the world. That's fine, no big deal. We'll talk about all that stuff. But for now, this is the introduction of this series, The End of the Search. I hope you enjoyed it. And may the peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.